This is Rock Leach with Social Fire. Okay, family, we're stepping right back into the Daystar scandal, and listen, this is going to be one of those moments where the church world is loud, confused, divided, and, desperate for clarity. Everybody's talking, everybody's speculating, and everybody's trying to figure out how something this serious could end with no charges filed. But today, we're not guessing, we're not assuming, we're not running off emotions. We're bringing the expertise, we're bringing them in. Because when you're dealing with allegations this heavy, children, investigations, police reports, legal definitions, you don't need a vibe. You need someone who actually knows how the system works. And that's why the perspective of attorney Vanessa Johnson is absolutely vital to this conversation. It's vital because Vanessa is not just a legal mind. She's a former prosecutor who has handled cases exactly like this. She has lived inside the justice system. She understands what insufficient evidence means. She knows what detectives get right and what they miss, and she knows the difference between a moral outrage and a legal chargeable crime. But beyond the credentials, beyond those, let's make this personal. Vanessa is a close friend of Jess and I. We've stood on the same stage together, fighting for church reformation, accountability, and the kind of transparency the body of Christ should have, never abandoned in the first place. And so when Vanessa speaks on this case, she's not speaking as a blogger. She's not speaking as a fan. She's speaking as a professional, a witness to real justice, and someone who loves the church enough to tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable. And so today, her voice is exactly what this conversation needs. We're going to get into it because you don't want to miss this video.
Social fire, we don't play. Rock Leach bringing the heat all day. Faith on fire, no mask, no leash. Fire in his voice, yeah, I rock.
He the voice for the ones that the church forgot. He bring truth to the light, whether liked or not.
Are you over 40 and ready to share your faith through content creation? Now is the time. I hit 5 million views last year using my video content, and I want to give it to you for free. It's valued at $2,000 because of its potential, but this season is about purpose, not profit. I believe in giving value, so this game-changing tool is yours at no cost. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get started. Let's take your content to the next level. Let's go.
All right, so what I want to do is I want to give to you what this case is actually about, and we're going to say it in plain English here. So this case centers around Daystar Television Network and an allegation of a young child, the granddaughter of Marcus and Joni Lamb, made an outcry of sexual abuse several years ago. We'll say SA moving forward. The person suspected by the family was Joshua Brown, who later married Daystar's daughter, Rachel Lamb Brown. A police investigation was launched, interviews were conducted, and a detailed report was created. But ultimately, no charges were filed. Not because nothing happened, but because investigators said they didn't have enough evidence. Specifically, the child never identified who did it. And some of the behaviors publicly discussed, like inappropriate kissing, did not meet the legal definition of sexual contact under Texas law. So this left the case in a strange space, deeply disturbed behavior. We got the deeply disturbing behavior, red flags everywhere, inconsistent statements in the family, questionable decisions by leadership, and a lot of public confusion about why nothing moved forward legally. That's why we're having the voice of Vanessa Johnson, who's the attorney of Vanessa Johnson, rather, because it's crucial. What she has to say is crucial because she can explain the difference between something being morally wrong, suspicious, or predatory, and something being legally chargeable under the strict standards of criminal law. And so that's why we want to go ahead and get into this with Vanessa Johnson. So she did a video here recently with Elizabeth Davis, another influencer, who has a great channel as well. But I don't want to show you everything from this because I do want to encourage you to go watch the video in its entirety. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to share a few things here that I saw as high points, a few high points, because there were tons of them in this video, especially those of you who want to keep up with what actually happened here, what actually went on in this case. So one of the things that Vanessa, I'll start with this right here. One of the things she highlights is that she explains that many cases, especially those involving children, go uncharged. I'm gonna go ahead and let her explain what happened with that. Let's go.
Yes, this is topic number one. Just because a crime is not charged, it doesn't mean that a crime did not occur. All right. So this can be true in a criminal case with a crime or in a civil case that something didn't happen, right? Just because something wasn't charged in a criminal court or you didn't take action civilly, that doesn't mean that something didn't happen. You could make a decision not to go forward. So the reason that, let's take, for instance, because we're talking about Josh Brown in a criminal case, why doesn't it get charged? So
what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna stop it right there, just with this right here, because I want to share with you why what she's saying matters, why this matters so much. And the reason that this matters is because this destroys the narrative that if he wasn't charged, he must, if he wasn't charged, he must be innocent. And that's not how the justice system works. Based on what she's saying, it's not. And it shows the public should stop confusing no charge with no wrongdoing, because I'm believing that there's still more to this story that meets the eye. That's what she's describing right there. I want to go to the next thing right here because I don't want to give this entire video away. I want you to go and watch the video yourself fully. Just want to react to a few things right here. She does a great job with explaining how the public misunderstands innocent until proven guilty. I want her to explain that right here to you. Let's go.
I know it's not the right to remain silent. You hear it all the time. I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right. I'm not going to talk to you, and you have that right. Now, the standard in a criminal trial is it's not proven innocent versus proven guilty. That's not the standard. There is no such thing. And people get caught up on that too. Oh, that person got proven innocent. Nope, not in the US. Maybe you're in a different country, not here. So the standard is whether the prosecutor proved the elements of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt.
That's very important. That's very important. And I'm gonna explain to you why this matters, because people, they wield this phrase like it's a shield to shut down hardcore conversations. People will do that. I get it here on Social File. We deal with legal matters. It's a legal principle, not a moral verdict. That's what it is. And it's absolutely does not mean a person didn't do anything wrong. It don't mean that. I'll let her finish right here.
So when people refer to the criminal defendant being proven innocent, that's just not correct. It's going to be what they mean to say is a not guilty verdict, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And so that's what that means, and that helps in that regard. Now, what I want to go to is, beyond a reasonable doubt, not proof of innocence. So, the criminal standard. She did bring up the criminal standard. Is beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's not proof of innocence. And I want her to explain that, because that was this was very good, because many times people will get this wrong as well. And I want to go into that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and also, guess what? A defendant can be found not guilty, but still actually guilty of the crime.
Right.
And I know that because the criminal justice system isn't perfect, and I know you're only what, 29, Elizabeth?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know if you know about the OJ case.
Mm-hmm.
Now she bringing up the OJ case. I get it, because they found him not guilty, and everybody know. Now in that moment, in that racial climate, some people was just like, siding with their race, if you would. Now we understand what was going on, but most of us know now OJ probably did that. Most likely he did that, and that's just what it is. But he was declared innocent. but most folk treated him like they knew what really happened, which was he was most likely guilty. And I'm going to explain to you why this matters, because this is why predators often walk free. The bar is high, especially with children, and many cases collapse even when everyone knows something happened. And that's why what she's saying is very important right here. This is good, y'all. I hope y'all are getting this. This was good. She's really breaking this down for us right here. Now, I want to go to the next thing, which is the case collapsed because the child never identified who did it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to restrain myself right here, because I believe that Joni Lamb told her she knew the whole case would be no case if there was never a person identified. And to this day, as far as I know, there has not been any identification given by the granddaughter. And so this is one of the things that probably destroyed the case, if I'm not mistaken, because this shouldn't have happened. I believe this is what Joni did, this diabolical thing Joni Lamb did, and we got to go ahead and get into that. But this is what she's going to talk about. Vanessa's going to talk about the Texas law requires, what they require, and I want her to go ahead and get into this.
Is described by the child, that would come into evidence. The problem is the identity. So bottom line, people, I'll say it 100 times if you need me to. This is why that crime was not charged. The identity of the person who did that act was never revealed. Was never revealed. Throughout that investigation to Susie, and we're going to get there, about, Joni talking to her.
And she says she's going to get there, because I believe that was the main thing that happened there, is that Joni Lamb talked to her, and I don't know what she could have said, but that is her grandbaby. There is some influence that could have been there. But the reason that this matters, what Vanessa is saying, because this is the heart of the whole issue, lack of identification, lack of it. When there is no identification, it doesn't mean the act didn't happen. It means the legal system had no target to charge. If they never identify the person, they don't have a target to aim at, because there's not any identification. They don't know who. And so they know what happened, but they don't know who. And I'm quite sure Joni, and probably the legal team she has, knew that and told the child, made sure. Anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. I just believe that was the main thing that happened here. And so I want to get into the next thing that she talked about here. This was full of so many great clarifying things. Vanessa did an awesome job here. Then she talks about the detective and what they never asked directly. They never asked a specific question directly, and I believe that this was probably the worst thing that happened. Outside of Joni, pushing the child not to identify, this was probably another thing that was terrible that did happen, and we'll go ahead and get into that. Come on, let's go.
For once, it was really focused on what people saw, like kissing, inappropriate kissing and touching, which, as I said, that kissing in and of itself, that's not a sexual act under the statute. The statutes have their own definitions, and that is not in there.
That is good that she pointed that out, because kissing is not in there. I know we want to say that it is, but it's not in there. There are more specific things that are in there. Go ahead.
So period, full stop, end of story, not gonna happen. Okay.
So why is it, and if you're going to talk about it, let me know, but why is it that the detective never asked?
Great question from Elizabeth, because Vanessa can get into because I believe the detective dropped the ball right here. This was an outright, the balls were dropped right here. Let's go.
About the penetration.
I know. Troubling. I don't know. He never directly asked about any sexual touching, because again, what did I say in the beginning? I defined it. It's going to be the genitals, the breasts. That's the sexual touch. That's in the statute. All of them. Every state has it.
Now those are specific, because she said every state has it. And y'all, the reason that this matters is because this leaves the whole interview feeling incomplete. It really does. I watched it, and there are several things that I noticed, the team noticed, that just were not correct, that were bad. There were key questions were never asked. And when you're dealing with a child, every missed question is a missed opportunity for the truth. We got to call it what it is. And this is terrible. But go ahead.
When I okay, when I'm looking, when I was a prosecutor, there was never a time where, oh, the warrant is they the guy kissed the baby boy or whatever. What are you bringing this to me for? That is
Yeah.
not a sexual act. Could it be an assault? Maybe, I don't know. But it's so far fetched. It wouldn't be coming across my desk in sex crimes. Again, what I said earlier, could a kissing be considered under that statute? Yes. If it sparked that arousal, remember the sex
Yeah.
arousal coupled with the other things. Yeah.
Now, I know this may be difficult to hear, but the reason that I'm letting this play is because this is it, y'all. We need to know what's going on. This happens often too many times in church. And you know what? I'm not going to say too many. It should not be happening at all. And I want to be a part of people being informed on what's going on, the details of it. So I'm going to go ahead and let this play.
Yes, it could. But I never had across my desk just a warrant that says that, like, for instance, with what this detective was asking Joshua Brown about the kissing on the face and the neck and the lips. Never. That never came across my. It's going to be body parts that are sexual, genitals, and it's going to be either the touching or the penetration. That's
Yeah.
how it falls under the statute.
I hate to even think, but you got crazy folk that are out there. Um, this is bad, but that's a reality of what needed to be asked. Those questions needed to be asked. All right, so I want to get to this next part right here, and which is why the case was officially closed. We want to get into that right there. Why the case was officially closed, and Vanessa gets into the standard reason of why the case was why it was closed, and so we want to go ahead and get into that. Let's go.
That doesn't rise to the level of a crime.
It's a bit of a shame, wouldn't you say?
It is strange, but that happens. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen that time and time again, and it doesn't. And you know what? Colleyville police have said it time and time again too. They're like, it's closed for now. Kind of a good thing that it was closed, right? So that the FOIA request could be made, so that Jonathan and Susie could get those videos. Because
Yeah.
if it was an ongoing investigation and it remained open, they couldn't have gotten those videos. Can they reopen it? Absolutely. There's no reason why they can't. They can reopen it. And guess what? There is no statute of limitations in Texas. So if the daughter is 25 and she discloses, then and it's him that she identifies, charges can be brought then. If she's 55, charges can be brought then. There's no statute of limitations.
Good.
And so one of the things we're looking at here is that I may have gotten the video too far. I try to timestamp these just perfect, so I don't have to. I may have gotten this one just a hair off. But the main thing that she said was that the standard reasons were insufficient evidence and no identified suspect. That's why she talked about it's good that it was done like it was done, because years later it could be opened back up. Now I'm explaining to you why this matters. So closed does not mean over. And I know Daystar, when this first happened, did try to put this across as this was something that was a win for them. What it actually means is we didn't have enough evidence at that time. This story's not legally dead, and the door is still wide open for future charges if new evidence or a clear identification, emerges. That's something that could still happen. And you all, this whole thing has been it's a challenging thing, and we've looked at over here those interviews, if you would. We have several videos that are coming out on them. We know several people have already reported on them, but we're always trying to see what God wants us to share with this. So we're not trying to be first. We're just trying to be right and righteous when we put this out here. But I believe Vanessa Johnson, you get a chance to go over to her channel. That's exactly what her channel's name is, Vanessa Johnson. Go over there. She's explained. She's an attorney, and she knows exactly what she's talking about. And I feel more informed now that I've heard what she had to say. You get a chance to go over there and subscribe to her channel. Go and subscribe. That video, particularly that I reacted to, was called "The Lawyer Says." Lawyer explains why Daystar Joshua Brown was not charged with a crime. He's not called Pete anymore. We're calling him Joshua Brown because that's who he is. Rachel husband. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. All right. I want y'all to meet me in the comments so we can talk about this. Meet me in the comments. Let's go.
Social fire, we don't play. Rock leech, bringing the heat all day. Faith on fire, no mask, no leash. Fire in his voice, yeah, I rock.
He the voice for the ones that the church forgot. He bring truth to the light, whether liked or not.
Are you over 40 and ready to share your faith through content creation? Now is the time. I hit 5 million views last year using my video content script template, and I want to give it to you for free. It's valued at $2,000 because of its potential, but this season is about purpose, not profit. I believe in giving value, so this game-changing tool is yours at no cost. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get started. Let's take your content to the next level. Let's go.